Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds. Hello everybody, and welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today we're going to continue our economics series by looking at competition and market structures. Don't forget that there's a link for a fill-in-the-blank worksheet in the description. I just ask that you like and subscribe. I apologize for any mispronunciations ahead of time. I do my best. Okay guys, let's go. Imagine a market where every company is like that friend who insists on copying your homework. They all sell the exact same product at pretty much the same price. No one is the popular kid here though. Everyone's got just a small piece of the pie, so no one gets to call the shots on prices. Now, for this pure competition party to happen, a few things need to line up. You need a ton of buyers and sellers, all hawking the exact same stuff. And these products have to be so identical that if you swap them, no one would notice. Like commodities, think of them as the plain white bread of the product world. Also, everyone has to be super clued in about what they're buying and selling. And lastly, sellers need to be able to pop in and out of the market like it's no big deal. There are very little barriers to entry, such as high startup costs. Think renting a shop and buying equipment just to sell some sandwiches, to needing some serious skills, like those carpenters or pharmacists who had to actually learn stuff before jumping in. But let's be real, very few industries pull this off. The closest you'll get is something like farming or the stock market. When competition is this fierce, prices and production costs stay low. So if some company tries to jack up their prices or can't keep up with efficiency, they're pretty much toast. Now on the other end of the spectrum, picture this. Instead of a bustling market with lots of sellers and buyers, a monopoly is like one bossy vendor hogging the whole place. There's one seller and a bunch of buyers with no other options. Why? Because barriers to entry keep out the competition. With no rivals, the monopoly can charge whatever it wants, like that friend who controls the TV remote and only watches their favorite show. To keep things fair, though, the US has banned most monopolies. But sometimes the government gives a thumbs up to certain monopolies. Enter the natural monopoly, where it actually makes sense for just one company to run the show. Think of the old school phone industry, where it would have been ridiculous to have multiple companies digging up streets to lay down their own wires. The government tells these monopolies, "Sure, you can rule this town, but we're keeping an eye on your prices." The government also hands out monopoly power through patents and licenses. Patents give companies exclusive rights to sell their fancy new gadgets for a while, like owning the only ice cream stand in a desert. And radio licenses? They let stations blast their tunes on specific frequencies without competition. Unlike in competitive markets where prices are kept in check, monopolies get to play by their own rules. They can hike up prices, but there's a catch. If they go too high, customers might just back away. So, monopolists try to find that sweet spot where they can squeeze the most profit by selling fewer goods at higher prices. And just to keep things interesting, monopolists love a little trick called price discrimination. That's when they charge different prices to different people for the exact same product. It's like selling a concert ticket to one person for $100 and to another for $50, because they know who's desperate enough to pay more. But for this to work, the product can't be easily resold, and the monopolist has to be a pro at figuring out who will pay what. Picture market structures as a wild party with different groups of partygoers. On one side, you've got pure competition. It's like a massive potluck where everyone brings the exact same dish. On the other side, there's monopoly, a party with just one person hoarding all the snacks. But most of the time, parties aren't that extreme. Enter monopolistic competition and oligopoly. Monopolistic competition is like a party where everyone brings slightly different snacks. Sure, they're all chips, but you've got different brands, flavors, and even some fancy dips. These companies have a mini monopoly over their unique twist on things, and because the entry rules aren't strict, anyone can crash the party. They compete not by dropping prices, but by spicing things up with new flavors, or by setting up the snack table in the perfect spot. Now, oligopoly is like a VIP party where only a few big names control the guest list. Think of airlines, breakfast cereals, and kitchen appliances. These industries are run by a few giants, and the barriers to entry are like a bouncer at the door. Sometimes these big shots get a little too cozy and decide to collude, which is basically code for secretly agreeing to overcharge everyone. Price fixing? Totally illegal, and if caught, these companies are in for some serious party-crashing penalties. Monopolies and oligopolies are like that annoying duo at a party who hog all the snacks and make everything more expensive. When just a few big players control the market, prices go up and the selection goes down. Sometimes, a monopoly will even go full mean girl and use predatory pricing, slashing prices so low that no one else can compete. Once the competition is out of the way, they jack the prices back up. And if they're feeling extra bold, they might just buy out their rivals to reduce competition even more. So what does our government feel about all of this? Since the 1800s, the US has been saying, "Not on my watch," with antitrust laws to keep these big bullies in check. The Federal Trade Commission (FTC) and the Department of Justice's Antitrust Division are like the party bouncers, making sure no one's getting too cozy and squashing competition. They even try to stop companies from merging into one giant, price-gouging super firm. Then came the 1970s and 1980s, when Congress decided to relax the rules a bit with deregulation. This was like letting everyone party a little more freely, cutting back on government controls in industries like airlines, electricity, and TV broadcasting. The idea was that more competition would bring prices down. And while that often worked for consumers, it wasn't always a good time for the employees of companies that couldn't keep up with the competition and had to shut down. So, whether it's antitrust laws keeping things tight or deregulation loosening things up, the goal is the same: to keep the competition lively and prevent any one company from hogging all the chips. Okay, it's time for a little recap. Imagine the market as a giant party. On one end, pure competition is like everyone bringing the same dish. No one can set the price because it's all the same. On the other end, a monopoly is that one bossy guest who hoards all the snacks and charges what they want. In between, monopolistic competition is where everyone brings slightly different snacks, and oligopoly is the VIP section, where only a few big names control the party. The government plays bouncer with antitrust laws, stopping bullies from taking over, while deregulation sometimes lets the party get a bit wilder, aiming for more competition and lower prices, but with mixed results for everyone involved. There you have it, folks. That is competition and market structures nutshelled. Thanks for visiting Nutshelled History. Get a little monopolistic on those like and subscribe buttons and give me the perfect comment in the comments down below. See y'all next time on Nutshelled History.